Live from the Pathway Studios in Johnston proper. You are live from the path.
Yeah, it's like that, or it's all over the wall, buddy.
And you're listening to Live from the Path. Come from the Pathway Studios here in Johnston proper. You guys don't want to know what we were talking about.
We're all in this together.
We're just talking about being friends.
This is not in your best
Just being
interest
buddies and,
to know
and
what's
helping,
happening.
Lessons
helping
from
a guy
COVID.
out.
Okay, all right, here we go. Here's what we got going on Live from the Path this evening. First of all, thank you for allowing us the rest. Your graciousness just cannot be overstated. We haven't recorded a show in 2 weeks, and you guys were just so patient and kind. No one harassed
Right.
the complaint line. No one banged down the door and said, "Where's the show, boys?"
I had people
mean,
throwing rocks at my windows.
Oh, okay, so Dan, maybe they directed it Dan, really.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's fair. Okay, well, anyway, thanks for giving us peace. Sometimes as local celebrities, it's just hard. It's hard to get away, and you guys were gracious. Thank you for doing that.
Nobody asked for autographs.
I'm astonished at how far you were able to get into that without laughter.
I meant every word. I don't know what you're implying.
Nobody stopped
I'm
us for
implying that you
selfies.
did not mean every word.
Yeah, I remember you were trying to manipulate me earlier, and I just won't stand for it. Okay, here's what I got to go on the show this evening. So there are some. I got a few articles that I want to talk through. And here's what's happened. And I don't know. Maybe this is not a good thing. But I was listening back to one of the older shows, and we had got an article from BeliefNet about ladies. What it was the 7 ways in which your ladies being unfaithful.
Oh, yeah.
And they were like ridiculous. They were like, "Oh, she daydreams," or like
She's looked at another man in person.
One was like she's being unfaithful to you with herself, and it wasn't even the thing you would think.
Right.
And so anyway,
She wears men's deodorant.
that's right. And so
Irish Spring.
I thought I'm gonna go check and see what's on the old BeliefNet. And boy, howdy, I found an article by the same woman.
Oh, no.
The lady who wrote the original articles.
Oh, she's still kicking them out, huh?
Yeah, she is. She's. I thought they'd replace her with the AI by now. It's like, can you write a shallow and a mildly
Woman,
misogynistic article,
infidelity,
but from
Christianity.
a woman's point of view?
kick out an article.
So anyway, we're going to talk through. I got a couple that I wanted to hit up. Buva has an update. He's wandered into the doors of a new church this week for a baptism, and he's got some thoughts.
I do.
He's got some thoughts.
I do.
And then we'll do some advice on Dear Live from the Path. Dan, did you confirm Asbury is still rolling or not rolling?
I don't believe it is. I haven't confirmed, but I'd heard like last week on Wednesday they were going to have their last service or something official. Like they were going to officially like close down the thing.
So how long did it actually go? Like, do we know the length of the deal?
A couple of weeks almost, 2.5 weeks.
Oh, I feel like it was
Longer?
Yeah. Okay, hold on. When did the
Sorry for those that don't have a lot of research into this topic. I've yet to read an article on it or know about it.
I just hear updates periodically. I'd see different things or on.
February 8th.
That's when it started.
When it started or when
Yes.
it ended?
Yes, when it started.
So like what? 20 days?
It's like happening in other colleges now, though. It has
Oh,
spread.
it's spreading.
Yeah.
Spreading like
So
wildfire.
it's like you can't say like the whole idea is gone, but I don't think it's happening.
I mean, I'd hope not.
Well, right. I mean,
It'd be pretty rough. If
that's
the whole
supposed
idea
to be
was
like
gone.
what we call normal.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. No, I got you.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, we'll maybe we were going to pick it up, but I think maybe we'll just pick it up next week. We'll just take we'll let the dust settle if it has settled. If it's not, I mean,
Yeah, maybe
it'll
it'll kick
keep
back
rolling.
up again.
Or let the winds blow.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, so here we go. Here was the article: 6 things to do when your wife fails you.
Oh.
Oh gosh. Wait. Okay, so this was written by a woman.
Same woman, Leslie White.
Does she just hate? Never mind.
I
Sorry.
can't figure out.
Your wife pets a cat.
I cannot figure it out. Okay.
6 things to do.
6 things to do when your wife fails you. She says, marriage is a lot like a house. It requires a firm and lasting foundation. While so many marriages are grounded in love, as they should be, love isn't enough. For a relationship to be healthy and thrive, the two have to be willing to put the work into it. Gentlemen, this includes the time when your wife fails you. What a focus.
Wow.
To move past this hurdle, you'll have to form a deeper understanding of each other. This will increase the bond in your marriage and help it to flourish again. Remember, even the strongest marriages will have moments of failure. That's okay. It's what we do to move out of these stages that dictates the strength and the health of the relationship. Here are 6 things to do when your wife fails you. And I will propose the same questions I had the last time, which is, why does this not apply to men?
Right.
We're going to listen to these, and we're going to go, could this also apply to a dude? Why isn't this spouses?
Right.
Why focusing on the ladies?
We don't admit it though. We have not failed.
Oh, you think that's
so maybe
the problem?
she just understands that.
Or maybe this is the SEO target because the guy
Right.
is Googling, hey, my wife failed
wife
me. What do
failed
I
me."
do?
Yeah.
Hey, might I imply that if you're asking the Google this type of question, she's probably not failed you. You might be the doofus in the
Exactly.
relationship.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not
Yeah.
talking to
Your criteria for
wife,
failure is
yeah.
probably pretty low.
Okay, so number 1, here we go. Thing to do when your wife fails you, let go of the need to be right. When your wife fails you, you're going to want her to know your pain. You're also going to feel the need to be right and in control. That's oddly put. You need to let this need for control go. If you're having a conversation with your wife and it becomes a little contentious, take a step back. Contrary to what you may be feeling at the time, you don't need to be right. Marriage thrives on strong communication. Now, just to clarify, isn't the proposition here that your wife has failed something? So doesn't that imply that you are right?
Yeah. And this is just a general tenet of like communication in general.
Yeah. Let go of the need to say, I'm right, you're wrong. It's a weird
It
semicolon.
has nothing to do with the failure. Just
Yeah.
do that always.
Right? When your spouse fails you or does something you can't stand, try handling the situation without resentment or complaint.
Wait, is that number 2 or is that still a
No, this
continuation
is
of
the
number 1?
same one, yeah. Let them know you have the ability to listen to them right where you are. These are these are not English words. These are
This might be an AI article.
This feels like a Korean woman wrote this, and then they used a translating program. This will help your partner see that communication doesn't have to go so left. It may even help them to be more open to listening to the things you have to say. Okay, yes, let go of the need to be right. Of course. Of course.
We can't. We can't just move past that, Ben. Was that your fake Korean that you just did?
Yes, I felt real good about it.
You have broken Mike down on many occasions when he throws a random bit of an accent plus a fake language out there and attributes to a race. Yet you just hong choi your way. All right, sorry, go
He
ahead.
If you're
wasn't-
upset about it, call the Bob Eisenhower complaint line.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
515-517-0085.
That's right. Call or text. You just let us know. In fact, I need you to spell Hong Choi. What I said. I don't think they're real words, and I wouldn't know how to reproduce them if they
I
did.
think I put some of that on some noodles I ate recently.
It's a sauce.
It's like spicy or something. The YouTube.
Okay. So anyway, agreed. Yeah. I mean, this feels like, hey, don't rub it in.
Right.
If you got to get past it, then you actually have to do effort to get past it, not double down, focus in on it, get out the highlighter. Yeah. Okay. That seems all right.
I mean, if you have to be told this, then you're really an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Five.
I mean, is that
like,
or does she think we're all idiots? So she's like, let me mansplain,
Maybe that's what's happening.
womansplain.
We're being womansplained too.
Yeah, like I feel like if you're in a marriage and understand like what you're doing, like you come at this with grace and with forgiveness and recognize that like this is what we do. Yeah, we both screwed up.
You know,
and,
babe,
like,
you're wrong.
Yeah, right. Like Jesus is the one who's right in our marriage, and we're both going to point to that direction.
Yeah. I mean, you just don't grind it in, man. If you want to move past something, like if someone you're married to is wrong, I mean, it's best to try to come to an acknowledgement of that. That way, it doesn't feel like you're fighting. Okay, I'm gonna tell you the story. My wife and I went on a walk one time, and it was us and the kids, and at least 2 of the kids. We walked, I don't know, half a mile, something like that, and there's a tornado warning in our area, and so we start to walk back because we're worried the tornado's going to come. And somehow or another, I don't know, that part wasn't relevant to the story. It's just what I remember for context. She was asking me about the peanut butter that I bought, and I bought Choosy Bins Choose Natural Jif. Okay, so that's what I did, and we argued for 45 minutes because she said, "Why would you overspend on the name brand peanut butter? Walmart makes a natural peanut butter that's $1 less. Why would you?" And I said, "Babe, I just like it." She goes, "It doesn't taste any better." I said, I disagree on this. I think it tastes better.
I like Jiffy peanut.
This is what I'm saying. Choosy Dan's choose Jif.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I said, look, baby, we're not in the straits. Let's just let's just not fight over the peanut butter. Let's just say, look, if you buy it, then you saved $1. If I buy it, then like, well, I could probably do better in life, but let's accept it. You know, can we agree to that? No, we cannot. we did not come to terms. Now I say that as only to say, it's hard to move on if you can't agree that we
Yeah.
actually have a problem here. And so there is a point where it's worth trying to identify at least where you're splitting, or an agreement that, you know what, yes, I fell short, or your person you're married to goes, yes, okay, I agree, I made a mistake. Because you can build from that. It's hard to build off of nebulousness, okay? It's a shifting sand type of thing. And
I'm hoping you created a chart with showing how much per slice of bread you really spent extra.
this is right, right?
See how
I'm gonna
right
go
I
ahead
am?
and break that back down and say, no, don't do that. That's not right.
Nope. Booba says don't do it, Dan. Don't do it.
Just in case the two of you over there in that corner are like, yeah, man, you should have made a pie chart of this stuff and figured that out.
Kathy would
How
let me
much
do it.
did I
I'm
really
just,
overspend?
I'm just saying.
Excel
Kathy loves this
spreadsheet.
peanut butter.
So, okay. So and actually, we did not resolve this as far as I remember. I think
Wow.
I just should not buy the. Now here's the thing. What do I care? I don't care. I don't really care.
I do know what I'm getting you for Christmas next year.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah. Hey,
I'm
if
gonna get you
Skippy
50 cent
Natural.
off coupon so you guys can meet halfway.
this is good. If you guys want to help old Ben out, you can I'll give you the address to the old Life in the Past studios, and you just send your crate of GFA. Natural
time we're
GIF.
off-
Natural GIF, please.
Next time we're off 2 weeks, we'll show up to a package of natural jiffies.
That's right. Okay. The next one, she says, this is 1 of 6. Number 2, take the time to bond again. There may be some distance between you and your partner right now. It may feel like the worst time to reconnect, but the timing couldn't be better. Hey, I do feel this way. I think this depends on the dude, but like when there's been a tussle, like I don't need to blow off steam because I'm angry. I just don't. It feels fake.
Right.
To I don't know, like hug it out or like something that feels to be close. Like I just need to feel like I need a little bit of space so that I feel genuine about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And so I think this does depend on the person. Some people,
Right.
my wife is like, unfortunately, is like the opposite. Like she'll be like, look, let's resolve.
Yeah, we gotta fix
And
this.
she'll go right in for the old hugster, and I'm like, I don't. Yes, I love you. No, I'm not going to pat you on the back. You get the 3/4 hug. And so it's unfortunate because my wife resolves that way. I need just a little bit of space, and then can do it, or more likely, I'd just like to move on. And so her advice here is like that it's the most opportune time to reconnect. Maybe that's true for your wife.
Right.
Recognizing that may not feel that way for you, and I think it's okay to eat it on this one. But you have to do your best to fake it. Like I'm really, really trying, but I just can't get the full 100% squeeze in it.
That's a hard fake. I mean,
Right.
women
Right.
know. They know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Side hug. Like, what do you mean?
what do you
See,
mean?
it's the exact opposite in my relationship, actually. Like, I'm the one, I want to fix things immediately.
Yeah.
Like, I'm super Mr. Fix It because, like, my brain goes to any second that I have not reconciled is like one more second that she's going to leave and run away.
Uh-huh.
And she's just like, no, I love you. That was not affected by what happened. But I don't like you right now.
Yes.
And so I'd like for us to not do that. And I'm just like, babe, please just let me, can I make you something? Can I cook for you or something? She's like, no, I really don't like you right now is where I'm at. And I don't want to be near you.
Yeah.
And so I need you to just let me be. And
Yes.
I'm just like, but
Can I be near you while you're
right.
not near
Can
me?
can we figure that out where like we sit on the same couch, but like we don't hug? Like, is that enough?
No. Now
Can I
here's
rub your feet?
Right. Like, how can I love you in ways that's serving you, but then you also not hate me in this moment and me make it worse? And
so, and I think where I struggle with that is that like I have a sense for they're doing something out of guilt.
yeah.
And I don't like the feeling of that, or it feels like I'm making them beg me to get back in my good graces when it's not them. Like it really is me.
Dang.
And I need a little space to sort the thing out. But like begging and pleading makes it, almost makes it feels worse.
Yeah.
On trying to reconcile something that like we're actually reconciled, but I can't do the thing right then.
This makes me think of like what they talk about with disciplining children. You do whatever the discipline is, some corporate discipline especially. Then you give them some space, but you always go back in and like, hey, I love you. I mean, this is have that
Yes.
warm, tender moment.
Yep.
But I mean, I don't know.
All right.
I don't know. Nathaniel, are you the sensitive Sally in your relationship?
No.
No.
Was
But
that
also,
you
like, here's the
backwards
thing.
calling me the sensitive Sally?
I,
Whatever. Go ahead, Nathaniel.
I mean, if the size 19 or whatever fits, what do you wear? Wait, so like you.
Legitimately, me and my wife do not argue or.
Oh yeah,
or
you said that before.
We just don't.
It's
like
suspicious.
one, I'm very. I think the right word is apathetic. Like the peanut butter argument would never come up because she says buy this is different peanut. I say I don't care.
Okay.
I have no. I don't care. I'll buy whatever peanut butter. And also, I say some really messed up stuff that might hurt another woman's feelings, and she takes it in super well. Like,
Yeah.
you know, what you just said is super messed up. And I say,
You look
yeah, I
fat
don't
in
like
those
it about me
jeans.
either. And then,
Dang.
you know, we just kind of move
There's a
on.
lot of grace in that. I love that.
Yeah, there's grace and apathy, and it causes.
Write that book, Grace and Apathy by Nathaniel Carson.
It causes
There's a book
there
there
to
somewhere.
not be
Really
like
is.
traditional marital bickering.
Yeah.
That's good.
I don't know if that's.
I don't
awesome.
know if it's good or not.
That's right. I think that's
just
really
my
awesome,
life.
or like, or dangerous in some way or another. I'm not
I
sure
mean, I
which
suppose
one.
that's true. Apathy doesn't usually lead to positive
Have
things,
you
but-
had natural GIF?
Of course, that's where you bring it back to.
Just-
Like something's not right.
But also, I'm the type of fella who, like, you know, you give a little mayo and a little Miracle Whip, and I couldn't tell the difference.
What is wrong with you? What?
Okay, see, that's your natural GIF. Is this behavior right over here? This Mayo Miracle Whip problem?
No, that is not the same thing.
Yes, it's the
you
exact
spend
same.
$1 on the same product.
No,
You just said two different things.
no, it's basically the same.
Miracle Whip is not mayonnaise.
We're-
That's why it's specifically called dressing.
They're both white
No,
and creamy.
So is ranch.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll put that on a sandwich too.
Okay.
Okay, we're bros on this. That's what I walked away with. Yeah.
Cool beans.
GIF.
Oh, I hate it.
Hey, let me ask you this question, Nathaniel.
Yeah.
Is there anything of which you feel like you are discerning when it comes to eats and drinks? Where you're like, you say, hey, I can tell the difference. You gave me that diet soda.
Yeah, Pepsi Coke. What?
No.
Yeah, I'll
No.
even take an RC.
Pepsi tastes like RoboCop's blood. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Here's one thing.
Okay.
Where that came
Yeah, hit
from.
me.
Whatever.
My wife likes to use this real crunchy laundry soap
Yes.
that doesn't have the dyes or the smells or anything in it.
Yep.
And over the last 7 years, I've said, all right, I don't really care that much. But she recently has spent quite a length of time away from me
Yeah.
to take care of our son.
Yeah.
And as soon as she is gone, I went out and bought the
You were tied.
This is the
Yeah.
exact
Tide.
same thing I did with my wife.
Tide, and I got those, you know, the extra smelly
beads.
Yeah.
The beads.
Oh yeah.
The beads. I've
Yeah,
been
beads
beading
are
it up.
awesome.
This is the exact same thing my wife and I just did 2 months ago.
Super scent. And then she comes back and she says, why do we have all these beads? I said, I like them.
I'm putting my foot down, woman. I like the beads.
That's what I did. I said, I like them, and I'll do my own laundry, but I'm putting them in there. I want to smell good.
This is literally the exact same thing that Gian and I just did like a month and a half ago, where I was like, I'll start doing my own laundry because I'm tired of smelling of nothing, and I'd like my clothes to smell nice. And it turned into it like I was worried about the thing because I was like, oh crap, I'm putting my foot down in a situation which I really shouldn't.
Uh-huh.
But then we compromised to where like she's like, you don't even have to do your own laundry. I'll just separate it so I'm not putting those chemicals on my clothes. I was like, deal. I
Yeah.
love this.
Hey, man, that means your wife is like, I don't care what happens to you. If she thinks the chemicals.
That is a big jump.
No. Here's the thing: if you believe the chemicals in the thing are harmful to you,
All right, here's the deal.
it's like going, I'll live long and prosper. You,
no,
on the
stick
other
some
hand,
razor
I need
blades
you-
in there too.
We're gonna put something into perspective, and
Yeah.
we've had this conversation already. Okay.
Jiffy.
If I am worried about anything in my life that's gonna make me kick the bucket,
Yeah.
it is not the Tide. It's not the smelly good gain beads. Okay, the chemicals that are gonna kill me are coming from the food that I've eaten over the last 25 years when I've generally eaten like a campground raccoon. Okay, like that is what I've done. Dumpster diving, not just for furniture, but sometimes for a Sammy.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
gonna grow a tail, and you're not gonna know how to.
If
here's
the
what's gonna
Lord has
happen.
not taken me from what I've done to myself since I was 13,
Yeah.
when I just now recently had a new non-repressed memory of when I remembered having the conversation with my dad to when I can start having 2 double sandwiches from the Bebops, and he lovingly said yes to that,
Yes.
which now that I'm 31, I don't know if I'd call it lovingly anymore,
Nope.
but like it randomly popped into my head the other day when my wife and I went to Bebops and she got a double, and I thought, there's a marked time in my life of when I was maybe 11 when I was like, Dad, I think it's time.
Yeah.
I think it's time I switch to the 2 doubles instead of the 1. As a preteen,
Yeah.
I'm going to start eating at least 1.5 pounds of food for lunch. What are your thoughts on that? And he went, heck yeah, buddy, let's do this.
Okay, here,
doubles together.
This is a think piece for you. 2 double Sammys from your dad is the same as poison laundry detergent from your wife.
Well, I smell much better now.
At least
I smelled much worse when I did the double.
your tail's
Sammys.
not going to smell
So
good.
there we go. All right, cool.
Okay. All right, you've been listening to Live from the Path. Hey,
What's number 3?
hey, if you've grown or extended a vestigial tail based upon your use of
From
laundry
Tide Pods.
detergent.
Please let us know about that. That sounds fantastic.
Okay, I will tell you, just so there's some sympathy for my area, when I travel on business, I do not take any of the crunchy granola maintenance items with me. I leave those at home. I get what I would consider to be legit items and take them with me. Normal toothpaste, something that doesn't come in a powder, you know.
What? You get powdered toothpaste?
Oh, yeah.
What?
Oh, yeah. You
What
just
is it, just borax with some spearmint dropped on
No,
it?
I tried to make my own. I made some of my own toothpaste. We make our own laundry detergent, totally. But like, I tried to make my own toothpaste, and it just wasn't. It didn't turn out right, and so we order it. We order it. Somebody's teeth powder. Tooth powder? Teeth powder. I don't remember. All right, here we go.
Oh, I hate that so much.
Number
Go on,
3.
Go on.
I love it. Actually, I tell you what, I switched to, and this is I would vote for this twice, which is
Bone
just
marrow.
straight up baking soda. If you've never
What?
taken
I've heard of
straight up
that.
baking soda to your teeth, now it is not refreshing at all because a lot of your toothpaste got some kind of sweetener in it.
Right.
Okay, but like straight up baking soda, it'll feel like these just came out of the package. Like it feels good.
I have never wanted my teeth
it
to
fe-
feel like they just came
It
out of the
feels
package.
good. I mean, it's a set of Joe Biden's waiting to happen. Like they are nice. I'm just saying, give it a shot once a week. Get some baking soda on them yellows.
I've cured and smoked my own bacon before, and like I've done that kind of stuff, like food things to like make my own products.
Yeah.
But I've never done house cleaning supplies.
Yeah.
Or my own personal like hygiene items. I feel like I really trust Colgate.
I'll tell you this. I've been my wife and I've been married for maybe 18 years this year. 18 years this year.
Maybe.
I'm trying to think of it.
We argue over peanut butter.
I'm going to
Maybe
tell you this.
18 years?
We have never, that I can, to my memory, bought glass cleaner or any all-purpose cleaner ever. Ever.
I don't think I want to come to your house
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. Your tail won't fit in the door. Number 4, practice gratitude. 3, 4. Holy, we're gonna have to give up on this list. Here we go. Take the time to bond again. There we go. It's vital that you and your wife both feel loved and valued. This is why gratitude is so important in marriage. Try telling your wife thank you at least once a day. Just like walk by and go, thank you.
Hey,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
It's just weird. Show your wife that you don't take your relationship for granted. There are several things you can try.
Right.
Maybe you can start by keeping a journal of the loving deeds your partner does. Also try. Now, this is not a bad idea, actually.
That's a
It's
terrible idea.
It's not a bad idea to have
Been
something.
2 weeks since you've done something nice for me, babe.
No, listen here. Listen here.
Failed me.
Being able, one of the hardest things in a marriage relationship is like you notice when the other person has failed. You don't tend to articulate when the other person has done a
Yeah.
good job because you expect them to
Just
do a
something
good
to do.
job.
Yeah.
So by just logging in your mind, hey, they made lunch. They don't have to make me lunch. This person's not worked for me. She made me lunch
Dang
today.
it. Yeah.
And saying, babe, I appreciate you making me lunch today. I really do. Thank you.
That's
I-
like the person who prays a lot and gets a lot of answered prayers. We don't think about it, but if you journal, you can look at all
Yes.
the examples.
Exactly.
I mean,
Right.
it's the same type of thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm terrible.
That's actually one of the things when my wife are at our best and remembering to, and specifically checking in once a week. That's one of the things we will ask each other is that like, how have I felt you? How have I helped you feel loved this week? Or in what ways have I served you? Because it causes us to actually think back on it and
Right.
say, I didn't
Quantify.
notice. Because one of the things where like either one feels the most hurt is like you tried and you didn't even get credit for it. And like you should
that's
do it
rough
anyway,
times.
but sure was better when you get credit for it.
Yeah.
So, okay.
That's true.
Let's see. Turn back the clock. After someone has failed in the relationship, it's hard to not to think about the good old days. It's hard not to want to go back to the honeymoon phase of the marriage. The reality is the spark will dim at times. It's unrealistic to think that the relationship will always be on a high. This is why it's so important to turn back the clock so you can reignite the passion in your relationship. This is a false thing. She just said, "Hey, we want to go back, but you can't. But you should turn back the clock."
Right, that's what I was just about to add. Okay, yeah, no, that's weird.
This is weird. While you can do something grand, you can also do really small acts.
Yes.
These small acts will create new emotional connections and simply show how much you care. Some of these actions will bring you back to the honeymoon phase of the relationship and remind you. She spent a long time saying nothing.
Right.
Yeah, this one.
I mean, I agree with the small things.
Yeah.
Like small gestures and making them feel heard, and like you listen to things that may have seemed inconsequential in the moment, but like you committed them to memory and did something, whether it's like a thing that they mentioned they didn't want to do one time, and so you just started doing that thing.
Yeah.
Or a thing that they talked about, like, oh, I saw an article on that, and that looks super cool. You show up with it a month and a half later, and
Yeah.
oh my gosh, you were listening in that moment? Like, that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Those small things are huge when it comes to like keeping things alive and feeling connected and loving.
Yeah.
What's the big deal though of referencing the honeymoon? Like you feel like you're on your honeymoon again. It's like, I mean, honeymoon was fun,
Yeah.
but it was like awkward and weird too.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it's not just the week of the honeymoon. I think it's that honeymoon phase where it's
that
like,
first year, even first
Right,
2
yeah.
years.
We
I'm
weren't at our best.
what?
yeah, agreed.
I don't. My wife and I weren't at our best in our honeymoon.
No,
phase.
you're so like, did we really do this? I
Yeah.
I was
there's
dumb.
just so many,
Yeah.
thoughts.
I didn't understand how to love her well at all. Like
Yeah.
we had spent such a little amount of time getting to know. Well, I mean, we spent a lot of time getting to know each other, but like together. By that time, that like I realized very quickly, I was like, she didn't know I burped a lot.
Yeah, all that stuff. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like she was just like, I didn't know what I was getting into, and I'm like, well, I'm sorry, I didn't do it more on dates.
you
And she
use
was like,
powder
I just
for
didn't know.
toothpaste?
Yeah,
Like, what?
right. Right.
I got the crest.
Hey, babe, why is there baking soda next to the toilet?
Yeah, all that stuff. I mean, it's just a matter.
Right,
You're
yeah.
just getting to know each other in a higher level.
And I think the big thing here is in moments where you have been hurt or your partner has failed you, your wife, your husband has failed you. I can understand why going back to a place where like everything was just better and then being stuck in the fondness of that and thinking it will never be that good again can be rough. But like, it's fine to look back and go, we have a history, which means that like this, it's just a part of the ride.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you've hurt me. I've hurt you as well. We have a history and we have a future and we have a now.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I can look at this.
We
this
won.
as. Right. Yeah, exactly. It's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
this is,
we
we're
conquered the peanut
stuck
butter issue.
in the best of ways. Like
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is, it means that this has longevity.
Yeah.
And I don't have to fear a loss or being abandoned here. Like, we're just going to get through it.
Like I never ever thought like we would not be together, but still in the early years, I remember like as we approached the 7th year, it's like, oh, that's a big year. Like
Yeah.
so many people get divorced, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Not that I was thinking, oh, I might leave you now, but it was just like, what's that going to be?
We did it.
What's
Right.
it going to look like?
Yeah.
Right.
It was like it was just like 6, 5, and 4. you know, but
Oh,
you know,
I'm
there's
just
all
gonna
those weird
continue
thoughts.
doing what
that-
I've been doing. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. Oddly, the next one, which feels like it's part of at least 2 that she shared, which is remember the little things. So remember, the context was things to do when your wife fails you.
Specifically has failed. you.
Pay attention to the things your wife has going on. Does she have a big meeting coming up? Is there a project she's dreading having to complete? Is she concerned about an upcoming parent-teacher conference?
But try to get her perspective is maybe
Yes.
a better way to say that. Than
Yeah.
remember the little things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Remember
understand
that
the
she's human.
understand the context of whatever might be contributing to whatever failure happened.
Yeah,
I
oh,
guess.
that's legit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's something that led to this.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like 0 to 100 failure or whatever you want to perceive it as. Like she's a human being and things have happened.
So okay, a couple weeks ago, I think I told you guys I bought some new silverware. Right, I'm all excited about this.
Yes.
Right, it's actually used silverware, but I'm just excited because now we have plenty. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I should never run out of silverware.
The Lord
and
provides.
I like the long forks, not the short forks.
Okay.
And I like, I have a particular thing. And,
know what I'm
I
getting
was
Dan
making
for
some
Christmas.
comment to my wife, and I was like, man, I've in my old age, I'm getting kind of particular about like I like this type of food, this brand of peanut butter. I said I like the long forks, and like she said something like, I can't remember how but she was like, it really irritated her that I liked a particular fork. And I looked at her and I'm like, well, I don't care what fork you use. You know, like, I don't understand why you're so upset.
You don't have to be particular.
Use all the little forks you want.
In fact, this is perfect.
I don't care. But
Most silverware drawers come with 2 slots for forks. It's fine.
exactly. But then I did immediately think, okay, she's got some stress going on
Yeah,
in her
right.
life right now. There's, this, that, and that. And it's not that she really cared and was mad at me about forks. That she had to release that somehow.
Yep.
And I happened to be standing there talking about forks that she thought, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. You need a particular
about the
fork. And I'm like,
forks.
I like the long ones. So it didn't escalate because,
Right.
Yeah, it just washed over you, man.
yeah, it's like,
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
I love you.
Oh gosh.
There's
That's
a bunch of
great.
little forks for you.
And here's what I'm gonna tell you is that like that's the opposite of the honeymoon problem. Honeymoon,
Yeah.
you go, hey, I like the long forks. She's like, I'll always make sure I have long forks for you.
Yeah.
You have long forks forever, babe. Like, why are you gonna be so picky and ridiculous?
I will hand wash those.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't remember. I can't remember the context of it, but like maybe 2 weeks ago, we were hanging out at the house or something, and Gianna hates doing the kitty litter. Like it just drives her nuts. But like she told me when we were gonna get cats that she would do the kitty litter until she got pregnant, and like obviously that's a problem for women who get pregnant. They should not do kitty litter or something like that. Whatever, I don't know the stuff. And so like she does it most of the time.
Hey, that's just the thing pregnant ladies tell you, by the way.
Yeah, they say a lot of
That's
stuff.
not legitimate.
Oh well, aren't their like senses super heightened because of hormones too?
They're trying to get out of doing the kitty litter.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna love her and do it regardless.
Yeah, as
so
you
it's
should.
whatever. Yeah,
I'm just
no.
saying it's real
But like,
sifty.
and so I don't remember the situation, but we were talking about the kitty litter, and then I said, "No, babe, I'll do it." I was trying to be loving and say, "I'll take care of it," because I know how much she dreads it and like hates it. And I said, "No, I'll take care of it." And she goes, "No, you suck at doing it."
It's kitty
And like
litter.
it hit me for a moment. I'm like,
It's poop.
I suck at doing it. Like it's just visible poop that's got to go, right? Like afterwards, is there the stuff there? No, fantastic. I did wonderfully. It was zero. It was gone now. And I was like, this came about because you were going to do something that you didn't want to do, and I offered to just do it for you. And your snip back response was, you suck at doing it. And I thought to myself, I'm like, this isn't the problem is not that I'm not good at it. I
Yeah.
mean, it is a problem. Obviously, there's a level of like quality.
You
that
must
I'm
be
not
real
getting
bad.
to. Yeah, I must be missing half of, or maybe there's a litter box I just don't know.
Or you
exists
just fling it.
something.
You
Right,
just
yeah.
get it up and shoot it.
Try and make it into the trash can or something. I promise it's not gross down there. Like it's whatever. But like I thought to myself, I was like, okay. And so I was like, fine. You know, I'm not going to pursue the line of questioning here because she's obviously in like in flaming moment, right? So I walked away and like I went and did the dishes or something real quick. And like 20 minutes later, I walked up to her. I'm like, hey, so first off, I appreciate you telling me that I'm not very good at something because obviously if I offer to do it, I don't want to do it, 50%. I want to make it to where it's actually something that's taken care of for you. Is everything else okay? Like, is there something else that was like bugging you in that moment that you needed to talk about? And she goes, yes, I didn't want to talk to you about it though. So blah. And we talked about it for a second and she got whatever she was feeling off her heart. And I was like, okay, cool. We've talked. You just tell me what's happening.
Yeah.
Like we don't need to build up and then at like a week later go, well, you suck at doing kitty litter.
Yeah, well, but to clarify, do you actually still suck at it?
I did it today, and she seemed okay.
Okay.
Like I think she understands that like I may not do it great. I don't know how else to do it better. I don't know if it's like I spray the stuff, I add more kitty litter if I feel like there needs to be more in there. I try to hit all the things.
Yeah.
But apparently I don't know if I just don't do a good job of it. Sifting, whatever. But like it was just a funny situation. I'm like, you just tell me. Like if there's something going on, like we don't have to snip. Like there's no reason. And I'm not trying to represent her like she's a snippy person. This is just
right.
2 stories out of maybe 6 years of being together, 2.5 years of marriage. We don't fight at all either because I usually go into things thinking, well, I'm wrong. And so I don't have any level of where like I come at things and I go, okay, I'm right in this.
Yes.
And so we're really going to hash this out and she's going to come to my viewpoint. I go, I'm most likely wrong in this and I'm just going to listen until I know we're both good.
Yeah.
And it's worked out well.
But
so
Jif
far.
is better. It's just flat out better. I don't understand.
Trader Joe's peanut butter is where it's at.
I'm against
Yes,
that.
100%. It's no sugar and it's like $2.35 for a thing.
Yeah. No.
Here's what I want to know.
Yep.
If you're making your own dang old soap,
Yep.
peanuts exist.
Why don't you make your own peanut butter?
And you've got a nice blender. I've seen it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I've been to your house.
It's not a cost advantage to make your own peanut butter.
Wait just a hot darn second.
Unless I'm willing to shell them, and I'm not.
was about to say, yeah, if you're buying them like raw, they should be a lot cheaper.
If you're if you're willing to shell your peanuts, but
Shell
like,
and roast them.
yeah. You know what I got? Less money, less than money, time, and so yeah, not worth my time to shell peanuts.
Don't you have like 12 kids for that?
They don't.
Make them shell peanuts.
They do. They do a whiz bang on the kitty litter, but they don't shell peanuts worth a darn.
Okay, fair enough.
Yep.
Dang,
All right.
I thought I was going to have a bunch of kids and have them be able to take care of things that I don't have time or money for.
That's a joke. They don't do that.
Gotta rethink my family structure.
They cost money. All right, last one. Don't be afraid to display your love. This is gonna be great. Nothing is wrong with a little love and affection, especially after a rough patch in the marriage. Do little things to remind your wife how much you care about them. It's also okay to show a little PDA. Smile, hold each other's hands unnecessary, semicolon. Even put your arms around each other.
Oh, wow. Really pushing the bar with that one.
These subtle actions can help her feel how close you are connected. It also shows that when the chips are down, you still love her deeply. Now, there is something about figuring out a way to, you call it fight, argue, improve each other, I don't care, in such a way that, like, you're not drawing lines. This is why you don't flee from the house without saying something like I'm here for this discussion. I'm not trying to bail from anything that's in it. You fight fair, but you fight presently, and you fight intentionally, and you fight with the goal of getting better, not with a goal of I'm winning. And like how you physically portray yourself will communicate that.
Right. Yeah, there's no version of this where like it ends. Like you go, it hurts, and it's okay to acknowledge that this hurt. And guess what? I've hurt you as well. And we're both human beings, and we're going to come through this. We're going to talk to each other. We can be mad in the moment. We can be mad in a few days, whatever. We're going to work through this. I love you still. My love meter has not gone down. It cannot be affected here because that's held in another place so that it can't be broken. I love you, and you hurt me. Let's move past it.
Right. Okay.
Grace and forgiveness, fellas.
Yeah, so these all the sum up was strong marriages take a lot of work, but putting the necessary time in pays off tremendously. If you want your relationship to flourish, especially after a rough patch, put these actions in motion. Some of them may be difficult to apply, but others will be easy. Remember, even the small things matter and help take your relationship to new heights. Applying them to your marriage can transform your relationship. Failure doesn't have to be an option.
And this may be a nothing burger, but the premise of love sometimes isn't enough, well, yes, it is. You're just looking at love wrong. Like, love isn't just Valentine's cards, and it's not just baking cookies. Like, love is putting that work in. That is the real love. Stop saying that you're not going to get through a marriage if it's only based on love.
Yeah, right. They're like what people are trying to say is like your
Not just
your
gushy
feelings.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. A marriage isn't going to be based off the fact that like, oh, I really like this person and they're cute. You're
Yes.
absolutely right.
It's worked for me though.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I married a bombshell of a woman, and it's worked out really well. Every once in a while, people are like, well, she's married to you? And I'm like, this is exactly why I married the woman I did, because people recognize that I look like a bridge troll, and she looks like Tyra Banks. Yeah, she's like a model. Was that No? Was that not the move? I was recently told that I don't know Project Runway, people.
Yeah, that's a shell game. You know all about it. You won you have a board game. The trivia.
Oh, yes, I do have Project Runway Monopoly, but I got that
Yes.
at a Goodwill outlet store.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, you've been listening to Live from the Path. Thanks for hanging out with us so far tonight. I don't know. If you have any thoughts about that article, let us know. 515-517-0085. That's 515-517-0085. Call or text. We'd love to hear you on the Live from the Path.
Do you
complaint line.
think they pay her for those articles?
Yeah, oh, yeah. She's got a bunch of them, too. So it's
They have money to pay her?
yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
That's the weirder part.
They don't put it into their web property. They use it all on the content. So yeah. Okay. Hold on. Let's see. 7. I don't care about that.
I feel like I hurt her feelings now.
Huh?
I hope she's not listening.
Okay. So here's you want some really bad news, and I just found this out within the last 30 seconds. It's like I clicked on her name, and it took me to a bunch of other articles by her, and it had her picture and bio up at the top. She is indeed of Asian descent. And so what what I've said is real rough.
We've just been canceled.
We have been doing this for 10 plus
I
years
know.
now. It is never a good idea
What are
to make up a fake bit of language based off of what you think someone might look like.
what? I didn't look at her.
That's why I said think someone might look
Oh,
like.
okay. Yeah. I should have done a Russian, is what you're saying.
No,
Yeah.
never.
Yeah.
No, never.
You
And in
f-
Secular versus Solomon, we should never guess racially. Like, that's never a good
Oh,
idea.
No,
What?
that's the whole
Dan,
premise of the game.
Or Dan should never drop Epcot Center. Like,
Yeah.
I still remember that moment. That was fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nathaniel, I think you're in the clear. I don't know if you've ever dropped a random accent or bit of fake Korean that might have been a sauce you put on noodles once. Actually, you're not in the clear because of that one. Whatever. All right, cool.
Okay. All right, we're gonna do one. So I don't think I'm gonna read this whole article, but like there was an article called 7 Lies We Believe About God. Round
Is that
robin.
the same one.
No,
Oh.
different. Same website, different guy. Question is, you each have one guess, and we will see if it's on the list.
Ooh, okay.
7 Lies We Believe About God. Dan.
That he will never give you more than you can handle.
Okay. All right. Never give you more than you can handle. Booba.
That he gives you everything you ask for.
Okay. That he's a genie. Nathaniel.
Do we take the top two?
Yeah. My mind is awash after those two.
Have you felt like your mind has been in a fog ever since you started using that cancerous tide?
It's the beans.
Actually, everybody says the diet soda that I drink is gonna make me have a goiter and a tail and what have you.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes I think to myself, the diet soda, maybe it's affecting my mind. Maybe I'm in a fog.
Ooh,
I should
that's
give
all
it
I
up.
drink. all
Diet
day
soda
long.
leads me out of the fog.
Anyways, I think maybe that the Lord will leave you.
Nathaniel started a sentence and went, "Lord, if you can help me get to the end of the sentence, I'd really appreciate it."
One more word.
And then
one more
ironically,
word.
it was that the Lord will leave you.
Will abandon you when you're trying to answer questions.
The Lord will kick you when you're down.
Okay.
And
All right.
spit in your face.
7 lies people believe about the Lord. That his name is actually Daryl.
Okay, here we go. Here were the 7 lies. 1, that God is of my denomination.
Well, I mean,
People believe that. Okay, number 2, God is a prude. Okay, hold on.
This is the greatest list ever.
Check this one out.
Believe.net is champions.
God is not a prude. He's a realist. Let's unpack what this means. Many Christians view sex as something dirty, and by extension, they view their own human biological wants and urges as sinful and disgusting. But the truth is, God built us to be able to have sex.
he never saw sex coming.
Like, oh, man. It's not gross or taboo. It's hardly the work of a prude. Okay, number 3. God hates us.
What? What Bible are you reading?
God does not hate you. Let's see here. God loves you in all your flaws. It is a weight that bends the backs of so many Christians. I don't know. Like, is this like your friend Ted believes these things?
Right.
Or is this a common...
Yeah.
This is a common problem.
Roy showed up at church 3 years ago for Easter, and he's never been back since
Yeah.
because he really believes all these 7 things.
Now, I mean, there are people who, like, legitimately struggle, like, seeing... Like, they'll believe all kinds of other things about God, but when it comes to how it applies to themselves, the ability for God to forgive, the ability for God to be a father figure, the ability for God to actually love them, to care about what goes on in their lives, like, they've got something, like, in them and in the way that they think about themselves that accepts a lot of other things about God, except for the things that apply to them.
Mm-hmm.
That's possible. That is totally possible. Or there's like an atheistic type of well, I suppose you can't technically be an atheist and hold this particular view, but like someone who is like basically against God or claim a lack of existence, who will say, well, if God exists, then he hates you because of the following. Right, because of this type of pain that's in the world or whatever like that. But I don't know if that's particularly common.
7 lies that hurt people have heard and perpetuate.
Yeah. All right. Next, God is in my political party. Okay. I don't know if anybody really believes that.
Oh, I don't know about that.
You
I say
think
people
so?
Do. Yes, absolutely. Are you kidding me?
God votes for Goldwater. That's what we think, Kevin. I mean, I get
That's
that people
one heck
think
of a
that like
pin.
we are the platform of Christian beliefs. I could see that, and people trying to justify what they believe politically. They blame Jesus for it. Totally, that's true across multiple political platforms. But do you think people are really? Well, maybe so.
I think
Maybe
on the fringe, there's a few.
Maybe so. Okay. Next, God is religious. I don't like this one. I don't like this. I think it's a misrepresentation, especially when we say like I have a relationship, not a religion. I'm like because it's the same way where you're thinking about love. I'm like James seems to think there's something positive about a true religion.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like I think you got to be cautious that you're not throwing out good, right, structured beliefs, ways in which the church has behaved to justify your Jesus is my homie, look at the world.
Right.
Like, and so not that I think the relationship is paramount, but like I don't think you have to take a whiz on
Right.
what you believe to be religion in light of it.
Yeah, for a long time I did the whole I don't have a religion, I have a relationship.
Yeah.
And it really led me it led me down a weird path where I was like, Jesus is my buddy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure he calls king is kind of the
Yeah.
my fealty is important here. Like there's a kingdom that I'm a part of, and there's some serious stuff. Like I may not be defined by rituals that don't have meaning,
Yeah.
but like it's all the same thing now. So
Yeah, like we have to do. I actually been talking about this recently. Is that like this notion of king and friend are hard things for us to get. Jesus can do both, no problem.
Right.
He doesn't have a problem with them both being true. We sometimes
that's
struggle
weird,
with
yeah,
what that
right.
looks like.
Yep.
But you're right. You don't throw out king, and don't throw out friend.
right, exactly.
You live in the tension of both of those being accurate for Jesus. Okay, let's see. God thinks less of women. God thinks less of women.
I think people that actually feel that way don't believe in God. Like, I think they think that a patriarchal set of dudes made a religion that kept women under their boots.
Yeah, they haven't actually read the Bible. They just have been told
Right.
that that's what the Bible
women are
says.
supposed to be the weaker
Yeah.
vessel, and they're supposed to be quiet, and they shouldn't be teaching or pastoring and
I
stuff
mean,
like that.
those are wrestlable items. These are things to wrestle through, but like it also it's not the you can't read those out of the context
Right.
of either what Paul is saying nor frankly the whole trajectory of scripture,
Right.
especially Jesus's interactions.
Right.
And so yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Is this the last one? No. God does not exist.
7 lies people believe about God is that he doesn't exist.
People who believe that.
Yeah, it does seem a little
that
bit.
is a lie.
Yeah. Let's see.
7 lies people believe about God. He's a potato.
Okay.
He shows up in French toast.
Hey, weird. Okay, this is the final part of the article, and then we're going to get to checking in with Buva's recent foray into the world of sermons. He ends the article with this: when we figure out who God really is, we're better able to not only be his representatives to the rest of the world, but our own spiritual lives are healthier. Examine your own preconceived notions and ideals for these falsehoods and weed out what's not truly scriptural, like God does not exist.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Do this, and you'll find God.
I hated that.
There's a man in a picture with his arms in victory.
I thought you were just doing that, and that was your natural reaction to what just happened.
What is prayer cloth, and are they biblical? Read next on BeliefNet. Okay, all right. You're listening to Live from the Path.
No.
Checking in with Buva. Buva visited. You visited Orlando. You were at a church because somebody was getting baptized.
Yes,
And you took in the sermon of the day.
I sure did.
What were your thoughts?
Oh boy, it was rough stuff.
Okay.
And it was interesting because so I was sitting with my family. They do not attend church very often, and they do not believe in Jesus. A couple of them are very against the thought of organized religion and all that stuff, and it's super fun. And as we're sitting there, and I'm listening to this pastor talk, and I'm just my head is hung in shame at the fact that they're in church right now. This is an opportunity for them to hear some good stuff.
Yeah.
And this is what they're getting.
Nice.
And I'm like, oh no. There was a part of me that wanted to just go up on stage and be like, hi. I feel like I should talk after what just happened. But anyway, let me start by saying that I feel like I was well intentioned and is trying to love on people.
Yes. Yep.
There's no reason for me to believe that him and I would be adversarial. It's just there's a certain things that just seemed kind of rough. And so it was it was a baptism Sunday, and so it was trying to kind of speak about the gospel. He said, I'm just here to speak the gospel and then get out of God's way.
Yep.
And there were a lot of amens to that and, hallelujahs and good stuff. And so great. I
Yep.
agree. Fantastic. Speak the gospel and then move and let God do things, right? Like, awesome. Then we start getting into the scripture, which was just jumping around all over the place and just nitpicking everything that could possibly be grabbed to be possibly about the gospel.
Uh-huh.
And the concept of baptism, which was interesting, but like not once was it something Jesus said. And like that felt kind of rough to be like, I'm bringing the good news of Christ, but I'm going to stick around with some stuff that wasn't really anything with Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, yeah, well, whatever. So let's see what he does in the midst of the pieces of scripture that he's grabbing. Started with a picture of his family up on the screen. And he goes, I've been told that people will like me more if I show them my family. And I just kind of started chuckling, and I was like, what a way to telegraph that you're not a likable person. Is to go,
Right.
Most people don't like me, but when I show my family, ooh boy, I really get in their good graces. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, can we move past the gimmicks? Like you just said, I need to like get out of the way of Jesus and speak his gospel. And you start off with the mechanics of cool pastor.
Let's put me on center stage.
Right. It's like, come on, man. And he did the cliche, and I hate this. He did the whole, I got 6 kids. If you can't tell, I really enjoy what the Lord allows me to do. And I'm like, come on, man.
Oh, no.
Like, I don't know if we need this. Like, we don't need this.
No.
Like, nobody needs the creepy youth pastor that's like, I'm really excited that I finally got married. And guess what that means, guys?
No.
Guess it's like, it's creepy. It's super creepy what
Yep.
you've done.
Nobody wants to
no-
connect that to
knows.
you.
Everyone is super excited about the fact that is something the Lord made for married people. But we don't need
No.
you to rub it in and go, ha ha, guess
Okay,
what I get now.
I'm going to clarify. Everyone is super excited that the Lord made that thing for them to participate
right,
in.
yes.
No one wants to think about anybody else
I've
participating.
never once been excited at a wedding going, I'm happy that they get to do
Yeah.
that now.
Nope.
That's not a thing
Nope.
I've ever thought.
Nope.
Officiating a wedding, I don't go, yeah, buddy. No,
Yeah.
it's gross. So he made that joke, and the whole congregation was in stitches because of it. They're like, we get it, pastor. We get it. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, I don't want to be here anymore. And I don't want to be around people that get this. And so it was, he also might have said a scripture that he was going to put up on the screen that doesn't exist in the Bible. Like he dropped a Galatians quote, but I think it was the wrong chapter and verse because the chapter and verse that he called out doesn't exist. And so I was like, okay, all right, cool, because I wanted to
You
follow
also
along
don't do
in my
homework
Bible.
because you're busy doing other stuff.
I'm just like,
with your wife.
no, okay, all right, fair enough. And I'm like, I sound like I'm breaking the guy down, but like I am. I am.
You sound like
It's-
it because.
I sound like it because that's exactly what I'm doing. And so the culmination of this and what really made me realize what was happening was he goes, you've all heard this parable before. And I'm like, okay, finally, we get some Jesus words in here.
Yeah.
And he goes, there was a grandfather speaking to his grandson. And I go, okay, already not identifiable as one that I've heard. Maybe it's a different one that I just don't know.
Yeah.
Like
It's
in
from
the
the
version that he's
the
reading.
Catholic Bible.
Right, exactly. Is this Maccabees? What's happening right now? He
Samuel's
goes,
hidden.
you've all heard this parable before, and if you haven't, maybe, listen in. And I'm like, oh, he really thinks that he's bringing the heavy with whatever he's about to say. And he goes, a grandfather was sitting there with his grandson, and he explains to his grandson that the grandfather has 2 wolves that live within him. And I recognize it immediately, and I'm like, no. No. No, don't do this.
Don't do it,
And
Ted.
like you could just feel
Don't
the
feed the
ambiance.
bad
of, like,
one.
like the room got real hushed. They're like, I like wolves. It was like 200 people in a room that are wearing Timberwolf shirts that are howling at the moon. That are like, wolves are cool and powerful. And he goes, and they're always fighting and fighting each other always. And one of them will eventually win. And that leads the grandson to ask the grandfather, which wolf will win though? And he goes, the wolves are represented. One is the evil within me, and it lives, and it lives for lust, and it lives for anger and for bad things. And then one wolf is for the good things in my life, righteousness and good things. And grandson, the wolf that will win is the one that you feed. And when I tell you that this whole congregation, having been listening to scripture for 20 minutes and not said anything, heard the punchline of that wolf thing, and they all go,
Oh no.
Oh, that's heavy. The wolf you feed. If I'm doing bad stuff, I'm feeding that bad wolf. That's what's happening, man. I'm tired of this bad wolf. I'm sick of it. And I'm like, oh no. The most impactful thing from this dude's statements, like all of it, having said multiple things about like the identity of who Jesus is and what baptism means to us and all this different stuff, it was kind of like, yeah, we get that. But man, Pastor, you really killed it with that wolf parable you said.
Yeah.
And I immediately, I couldn't help myself. I like reached up to my two siblings that are in front of me, and I said, we're getting a family tattoo today. It says hashtag don't feed the wolf. We're doing this right now. They are cracking up laughing. I'm like, I can't do this, man. This is so rough. And so I'm waiting for him to bring it home or anything.
Yeah.
It turns into, at the end, he goes, so here's the deal with baptism and with who we are and what Jesus calls us to be. Everybody in here has just got to die. Like, that's what it means. We got to die. And I'm like, I pseudo get, I mean, I get what you're getting to.
Yeah.
But, like, that's a weird thing to drop as, like, the end of your sermon is, like, everybody in here's got to die. Yeah. And everybody's like, yeah, hallelujah, we got to die. Don't feed the wolf, blah, 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 blah. And everybody gets up and starts dancing and singing. And I'm like, is this what we're doing?
I mean, it's a mix of metaphors. Like, am I
all
the
over
dead
the
wolf
place.
or the living wolf? I
It's
can't die and be the wolf
Right.
that wins.
Am I the wolf that doesn't get fed? And like, here's the deal. And this church is they're known for being incredibly accepting to like anybody.
Yep.
Which I appreciate. Like that's a super cool thing. Like they even have this like mission statement at the very beginning of the church, or the sermon goes like they go through all of the possible walks of life that you could think of and all of the modern terminology for all of those things, like tweaker, like meth head, like a drunk or a boozer. And like, it's like 3 minutes of essentially extending the whole Paul thing where he starts talking about like, oh, idolater. And it was rough. Like at one point in time, they said the word whore.
Yeah.
And like people kind of got like, yeah, like that's me. I'm here. And I'm like, I appreciate that you're pushing for like, we accept everyone. We love all of you. And he goes, we are called to, you are accepted before you believe. And everybody stood up, hallelujah, all this different stuff. And I was just like, man, I appreciate some of the bones here. And like, I love the fact that they're inviting to anybody and there's not a single walk of life that can't walk into that place and get loved on. And I love that entirely. I love that so much. It's affected people in my life in a good way. But like, this dude comes in and like, this is the heavy?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, what? It's flair. Like you're twirling flags. Like there's not meat happening here. And there's not stuff where people are like legitimately turning that will push for, this is a real relationship with Christ that you're pushing for. What you're putting out there seems to be just, we accept everybody and don't feed the wolf. And then drop the heavy on it.
Right, and so like I like the risk, because it seems like, okay, I mean, maybe it just seems like good advice, you know, don't feed, you keep doing the wrong things. Great, okay, I should give those up, and then my good side be more powerful. I mean, that's great, and it may change some of your life circumstances, but neither of those two wolves is the Lord Jesus.
Exactly.
And so like all you've done is pushed back onto someone the notion of their own inertia and responsibility.
Right.
On what it looks like to change your life. And it left out it's the anti-gospel, to be honest with you. Like, it's the exact opposite.
The transformation's within you.
Right.
No.
Yes. It's, you couldn't have said a more wrong thing when you're trying to get at baptism and gospel. Now, if you want to talk about under the subheading of Jesus says, here are the things of what it looks like to not destroy yourself, and you're going to feel them at war, and the more you do the thing, the harder it is to bail from it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Use your wolves. No problem.
Right.
But that was, he probably does not realize, but that was the exact opposite of the gospel message.
Yeah. I know. They cater to, I'm trying to allow anonymity here as best as I can. They cater to a group of people that are like addicted to drugs and alcohol and stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Right, exactly. And like, there's a certain level of like, you have to take charge in what you're doing and stop doing that stuff that gets put out there.
Yep.
But like, that is also in line, or like that comes also with the transformative power of Christ in your life. Like, Holy Spirit starts changing your heart and starts changing things for you. because you have like allowed him in and are working with that with the God of this universe on trying to be better. Like it's not just you wake up one day, want to get better, and then you're the reason you're better. Like that rarely works.
Right.
Like it should work in tandem with the fact that like God is moving things in you because you are giving up parts of yourself to be in line with who he wants you to be.
Yeah. Any notion of personal failure, relapse, personal failure in there, like your whole world recrumbles.
Exactly.
Yes.
There's no foundation. Everything's broken. You're in quicksand again.
Yep.
I think in the grand chessboard, spiritual chessboard that God plays as he places churches and congregations and people and servants and doing things, I think he does have some. This is a very low entry level place where someone would come. They might come to my church or to your church and like just be completely lost. Not
Could be
a
yep.
thing that's being said,
Right.
but they're getting it. But here's the thing: hopefully, at some point, and I've seen this so many times through the years now in various settings, where they will outgrow what they're being fed, and at some point, the spirit within them will lead them to, I need more, and some may not, some may fall and just drift and try to feed the wrong wolf or whatever, but some will be like, okay, I just crave gospel, and they'll find it. I guess I'm just saying, I trust the Holy Spirit.
No, and that's fair, and that's a good point.
Not that they're not valid what you're saying, but
right, yeah, and like I said at the beginning, like I don't believe that this dude was trying to hurt people, and like I don't think he was trying to like promote himself.
And he offers nothing for any of us.
Yeah.
And so absolutely.
Right.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And so I was just thinking,
I don't really do breast milk anymore. Thanks.
Right. And as I was sitting there, I'm just like, I feel like I'm worried about where this leads because like that, and it's true. There is a trust in the Holy Spirit that maybe I'm not giving a little bit of credence here too.
Now, people stay there for 25 years, and you go, okay, you haven't. That's when Paul says, you're on milk, get
and
going.
Here's the deal. I've seen a lot of people get pulled in by that kind of message that ultimately leads to nothing.
Yeah.
Like it leads to, this is,
dangerous.
It led to, I felt good in the moment for a few weeks or a few days or a few hours, but within seconds it was like, okay, cool. That was, like you lit a lighter and there was a little bit of heat from it, but like I don't feel like I'm any better for it, and I don't feel like my warmth in my heart from it. It's like I just feel like I appreciate the charisma. I appreciate the openness to allowing anybody in and saying everybody's welcome here, and you don't have to be 20 years down the line to be loved by Jesus. That's all absolutely true. I just caution the other side of it that doesn't have meat and doesn't have like a foundation to sit on.
I would actually say like the meat is one thing. Here, it's just context is another.
Right. Yeah.
Like again, if you want to say, even in the presence of good news of full rescue, good and evil will still be competing in you.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Like again, you totally could have. For me, you could have. If you take that same metaphor and because it hits right for this group of folks, you just move it underneath a true thing about Jesus and rescue. Then I'm in. Then I actually don't have any concerns.
I think this makes me think of. Have you seen the Jesus Revolution movie yet?
I haven't. I wanted to check
it.
Is it?
I'm not the emotional guy. I had a tear going down my cheek during this thing. And I'm like, good thing the lights are off. It's the story of Chuck Smith, Calvary Chapel.
Okay.
And he had the big Jesus movement with the hippies.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And the average church did not. They shut the door. They don't, we don't want those people here.
Yeah, they're dirty. We don't want them.
Yeah. One guy comes along and he brings them in, and all of a sudden, but Chuck Smith's like the total Bible guy, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Nerd Bible, and just hear him preach it as it is. So one guy brought him in at a certain level, and when he would preach, it was like a lot of oh yeah, love,
right.
blah blah blah. But then Chuck built them up to something else,
right?
And then it started spreading. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I'm kind of mixing reality in the movie of what happened, but
right.
I'm hoping that's what will happen with people.
Right.
Yep.
And here's the deal: like, there's some serious growth that's happening. Like, I'm seeing it in family members, and I love it. Like, I'm super excited about things that are actually changing for them.
Yeah.
And they probably will hopefully at some point go, I need
and I've also seen other family members that have been subject to this stuff that like they felt good for a moment.
Yeah.
And like it felt great for just a second, but like it really it was very shallow. And so the second that water started rising, it was just like, oh no, like this didn't help me at all. Like I'm in a paper
failed
boat right
too.
now.
Yep.
It's gonna sink.
I hope your wolves can swing, bro. Like,
Right, yeah. And it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I wasn't like angry, I wasn't upset or anything like that. It just really like in the moment I was like, I know how shallow this can be taken. And I know it's true. Context is better than meat. There's got to be a level where it's like, oh, you need to realize like what's actually happening here, though. It's not just you feel good, and it's not just, oh, I got to stop feeding that wolf because that wolf's gonna win, so I'm gonna stop looking at porn or I'm gonna stop doing drugs. Everybody knows they got to stop doing drugs. Like that's not a thing that you're changing somebody's mind on. Like nobody on meth right now is going, meth is really great for me.
is this wolf
It's
okay?
Is this wolf doing
Can I
good? Because
feed
either the
this
wolf
one?
was looking fairly anemic.
Yeah.
Like this is just a rough deal.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. It was just interesting to me as I'm just like, okay, this is it's the first time I've been out in a church that isn't my own for a while. And so it was very interesting.
Yeah.
And I really do want that tattoo that says hashtag Don't Feed the Wolf.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
I was kind of on the other end of the deal a couple weeks ago. I'm starting to go out and talk about the orphanage, and went to a church, rural town, right? And it is exactly what I remember from the 70s,
Right.
You know, and I had to remind myself, man, this is family. I'm here with family, you know.
Right.
And it's like they were singing songs that like I grew up doing the hymns. I'd never heard. You know, I'm going like, I have never heard this. And it was the deal, you know, it's a small country church. The piano player had back surgery or something, so she like recorded somehow digitally, I suppose.
Yeah.
Her on the piano singing, and you know, she'd speed up and slow down, and I was like, okay, we're not keeping the same tempo, but and of course the hymns are real high, you know, and everybody's got their head buried, you know. I'm like, okay, I've been here, I get it. So but sometimes it's hard not
Right.
to put that through the filter of, okay, come on, you can do better.
Right.
To you know what?
Like you've had the same pastor for 72 years.
Yeah, like I didn't use. There was a couple songs. I'm like, really? You guys are looking at the words, you know, blessed be, you know, whatever. I'm like, I haven't sung it for 30 years, and I still know it by heart, you know. You know? But you know, it's easy to get critical because you end up where you're really comfortable and what speaks to you. And like, if any of them came to our church, they'd be just as uncomfortable and weird and awkward.
Yeah.
You know, and so I just thought, man, I'm just hearing God's people, and I'm just going to enjoy this.
No,
and,
that's totally fair.
And but I wasn't listening to bad teaching. I was the teacher. It was great. It was no.
You know, this goes back to the same thing that I think I've said before when it comes to how you interact with kids. But the comparison is going to seem just a little bit off. But like, I just see Jesus interacting with all kinds of people, and he doesn't go for the cheap thing, the connecting thing, the story that would make sense to them, the parable that would hit them. That's why that's why I like the wolves. To be honest, you get rooms full of people who have gone through rough situations. Like the more dramatic kind of epic image hits them.
Yeah.
That's true.
Because they've run the gamut of emotions. Like it pulls on something like you feel when you're fighting a drug addiction, you feel like you're up against a massive wall.
Right.
Whether you believe it to be evil or in you, out there, like emotions that you're fighting, physical things that you're fighting, like there are blockades in minds of people who are struggling with that I don't actually know. I've not been there, and so like all my problems are barely even keelly sorted out. But like some of those dramatic images, like it's how you amp up for what is a freaking battle and a half, right?
Yeah.
So like I'm in on the wolves. It's just like Jesus would tell a parable that would make sense to somebody.
Look at the lilies of the field.
That's right.
The Pharisees are going, are you serious?
Exactly. However, but you don't see, this is where obviously Jesus got the right balance here. Like, yes, this is something you connect with, but what does it point you back to? It points you back to the Father. Right? And so like Jesus is not missing the opportunity to say, hey, yes, bringing a new kingdom, the kingdom reflects the character of the Father. Here's some examples, but it points back up to the Father himself, right? And so my encouragement then is if you're ever going to stand on behalf of the Lord and speak something to someone, like your context matters.
Yeah.
Your images will vary on who you're talking to. I think that's right and righteous.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the context of what the thing that you offer, the words that you're bringing that no one else has to offer on the, Zig Ziglar doesn't have to offer, just with some general encouragement on how to live a better life, is the things that point back to the Father.
Right.
And so if we miss that, I think God can probably get back to it and sort it out. obviously, but like it's the one thing that if I showed up to say anything, I'm not going to miss the points back to the father piece.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, you've been listening to Life from the Path. All right, let's give some advice on Dear Life from the Path. Get out of here.
I'm ready.
Me too.
Dear Live from the Path.
Okay.
When I visit my 3 grandchildren on Fridays, my daughter-in-law never offers me any refreshment. Now you know why I was laughing earlier? Not even a glass of water or a cup of tea. She will eat in front of me and not offer me anything.
This is her daughter?
This is her daughter-in-law.
Daughter-in-law.
Daughter-in-law, okay.
Not even a glass of water or a cup of tea. She will eat in front of me and not offer me anything. I was taught that this is rude. Should I bring my own refreshment? If I did, I would feel as though I would need to feed the whole family. I already travel quite far to get to her house, 45 minutes each way, and I bring snacks for the grandchildren. I visit them because it's easier for my daughter-in-law to have me over than to haul the 1, 3, and 6-year-olds out to my house. I would love to be invited to stay for dinner, but it never happens ahead of time. If I come at 2 p.m., then around 5 p.m., I may be invited, but I feel it is out of obligation, so I don't stay. What should I do?
Maybe the daughter-in-law sees you as family and figures you can go get yourself a glass of water.
Right.
But she was taught that it's polite to be offered that glass of water. She eats in front of her, Dan.
Right? To say, hey, do you mind if I had a glass of water?
Yeah.
I mean,
Where's the son?
I'm probably at work. It's at 2
Yeah.
o'clock on a Friday.
Okay, I suppose that's fair.
Yeah. Here's what I'm gonna tell you. How many kids? Did she say how many
3
kids?
kids.
3.
1,
Okay.
3, and 6.
And this woman's home
Right, with the
with
3
these
kids.
3 kids on a Friday at 2 o'clock.
Uh-huh.
She's either homeschooling or busy off her bones, man. You're showing up, and like
Yeah, you're doing a great thing by going. Like,
Yeah.
that's a super awesome thing.
if you're there to help. You're approaching this with the wrong mind.
Yeah.
Bring a tea. You want to drink some tea? Bring some with you, for heaven's sakes. For goodness.
Stop by the local gas station on the way there and get yourself a bottle of,
Right.
Snapple.
It can't be that
Do they
simple,
make
fellas.
Snapple anymore?
It can't be that simple to
says-
just bring her own refreshments or get a glass of water herself.
I'm afraid that if I bring Snapple, I have to get some for the whole
Gotta get
family.
some for the whole family.
Here's some for the 1-year-old. Here's some Snapple for the 3-year-old. Like you're being
And she just
goofy.
said she brought snacks for the kids.
I'm gonna tell you
that
this.
means she brought snacks for 3 of the 5 people involved. So she's not willing to scrounge for the other 2.
Yeah.
Herself being one of them.
Yeah, maybe the mother.
What she's saying is she doesn't want to bring food for her daughter-in-law.
That's it. That's
it.
Is that
Yeah.
the next letter? My mother-in-law comes and doesn't offer me snacks.
Doesn't offer me any snacks when she comes to visit me and my children.
Okay, now this isn't always true, but I'm gonna bet 80% of the time, she does not want you to bring snacks for her children.
Right.
A lot of times,
everybody in the world's got the snacks they need at their house.
I'm just saying, a lot of times families have curated what snacks, types of snacks, what's in the snacks. As if you are a grandparent, you totally have the right to ignore that. It's one of the benefits of being a grandparent. But if
Grandma
you're
gives you
showing up
candy.
every week with ho-hos and she gives out dried mangoes, you're causing a problem.
You know what though? As the grandfather in the room, I always ask, "Hey, is this okay?
Kind.
Is this the kind of food you want your son to have?"
Right.
Yeah.
Dan, I really want you to make your own blog called The Grandfather in the Room. Like, I don't know what the context is really going to be, but that just feels like a publication I would sign up for.
Yeah.
Really?
Like
Yeah.
the weekly newsletter from Dan, the Grandfather in the Room. I don't know. It just felt great. I just
felt
wanted
good
to call that out real quick.
I feel like you're in the right position too, because you can go and say, "Hey, look, I bought these Twinkies. Are the kids allowed?" And like, "No, we don't really give them the Twinkies." No problem.
Right.
take
yeah.
care of
Oh, I guess I get to eat these now, huh?
three for me.
Grandpa tax.
If I bring him next week, remember I forget. I'm a
Yeah.
grandfather.
I bring
Yeah.
ho-hos because they're 2.
Yeah, I would like if you're coming to see the kids, then you should be enjoying the kids. But just recognize that you're interrupting something. If you're there till 5, it means you'll be there for 3 hours. I don't care if they love you to death. Like, especially if you're either homeschooling or there's just a routine. Even with
Right.
a 1 and a 3-year-old, there's a routine, and I guarantee you're interrupting it.
Yeah.
She's probably okay with it. She seems to be glad to have you there, but like these expectations you have in your mind, like you are the most important thing happening in the afternoon, I think it's just an attitude problem. If you change that, then I think this drink thing goes away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. All right, you ready? You ready for secular?
Let's have it.
Oh, gosh, this is a doozy. You were raised in a home where you were taught good manners. Apparently, the woman your son married was not. No hostess with an ounce of class would eat in front of a guest without offering them anything.
You're not a hostess or a guest.
It gets better. The haphazard way you are included at dinner makes me wonder if your daughter-in-law dislikes you and only tolerates your presence because it certainly isn't calculated to make you feel welcome. Talk this over with your son. If your visits are regarded as an imposition, perhaps you should take the grands for an outing rather than watch their mother eat.
Wow.
I hate this advice.
That was so bad.
So bad.
You are 100% correct. She is a troll of a woman. Hate her. Hate her. Why did you let your son marry this filth?
This buffet eating Jezebel who hates you.
Oh
right, you want more?
my.
That is terrible. Nathaniel, I don't know. Did we miss something here? We were way off.
Please bring the heavy.
Yeah, look, you don't
As
have
an
any fights
apathetic
at your
fella.
place. You're the guy who should be solving all these problems.
I mean, I don't know. It just seems. I mean, it seems kind of rude to not be like, "Hey, you want a water, mother-in-law," but also it's like the mother-in-law can do it. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like my mother-in-law comes over to my house. I don't say, "Hey, you want a water?" But like sometimes I do. Sometimes I'll be getting something at the store, getting some sodies,
Yeah.
and I'll say, "Hey, you want anything?"
Nathaniel's a hostess with no class.
I am actually a hostess with no class, but it just seems way blown up.
Yes.
It seems like too much.
Yes. And my guess is that it's not even true.
Right.
Right. To your point, like normally, I can't think of the last person that came to my house where I said, "Hey, do you want something?" I just who are at my house, I presume are going to just grab or frankly know that I don't keep anything good at my house. We
Hey, do you
offer
have any baking
filtered
soda I
water
can brush
over
my
here.
teeth with?
Yeah, right. Like my house is not the place to go for something good to drink. And so, but people who know me know this when they come in.
You want to come in? We've got groundwater. It's great.
That's right.
It's in a basin in the bathroom. Go grab it. We don't use cups though. It's actually clamshells. They're all natural.
man, I'm gonna tell you this. It is. I
Oh,
can't.
please don't validate.
I
anything
can't have
just said.
people over. I say, "What you want?" We got water, warm water in the filtered bucket over here, and almond milk, and juice that you're not allowed to have because we use that for communion, and yeah, soda, no, tea, no, I don't think so.
The last time I went over to Ben's, I had to go out to the well myself. My arms are getting tired. How deep is
You want
this
water?
well,
Go get
Ben?
it yourself.
Don't drop that bucket for too long. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Okay,
All
yeah,
right.
this is the worst. This is freaking terrible advice.
Oh, I'm super excited for the next one,
Terrible
too. You
advice.
ready?
Let's have it.
Dear Live for the Path, my son has a best friend, Earl. He
Nope.
is hung.
Nope. There's no way. Is it in quotes?
It's in quotes.
Okay.
Oh, you say the writer's 150.
Right.
He has hung out with my son has a best friend, Earl.
'Kay.
He has hung out with since they were 14. Earl considers me his second mother because his real mother deserted him after he graduated from high school.
Okay.
He has never married or had kids. I'm 76, and Earl, sweet Moses, Earl is 55.
Uh-oh.
He does small jobs for me off and on, like changing the light bulbs in my kitchen, fixing a light switch, replacing my windshield wipers, etc. He calls me off and on, and we email a lot. We both love movies and enjoy discussing them and the actors. When he calls, I know I sometimes become long-winded. I'm sure Earl gets tired of me going on and on about my stuff. But instead of telling me he needs to go, he quietly hangs up on me.
These are the best today.
I think,
The best.
I think it's extremely rude. I wish he would just tell me he has to go. I wouldn't be upset about that. Earl never mentions it later. We just go on as usual. I could tell him I'm never speaking to him again if he does it again, but I need him to help with those small tasks, so I don't want to make him mad. Must I remain silent about it? What should I do?
Yeah.
These are killer today.
Set a timer, 15 minutes, and then shut up.
Earl,
Yeah.
are you there?
It puts the image in your mind, though. It's like this woman just gabbing around and him just like slowly putting the receiver down and tiptoeing away from the phone.
Yeah, he
What
hasn't,
year
he
was
hasn't
it-
been there
what
for
year
10
was this
minutes. He's
written
walked
in?
away. He's in the bathroom.
Do you want to know when this was written?
Yeah.
2 days ago.
Yeah, actually, I like Dan's better. I like the opposite thing where he just hangs up the phone, no problem, and walks away gladly. Starts making a sandwich. This is the best. Okay, yeah. Well, here's the thing. Like, if you know, if you know you're windy.
Yeah, she knows the problem.
Right? Like
I can be long-winded going on about my stuff.
you stop.
Earl just quietly hangs up after a while. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm a
wow.
Dan. Like
the chrome-plated stones on Earl
Yeah.
is great.
I mean, but listen, but look at him though. He still comes over and helps.
Right.
No
That's
problem.
The thing.
Yeah.
He even
Earl sees no issue with this.
he gets on the phone still and listens.
and emails.
Yeah.
There's not anyone I email outside of work ever.
Yeah.
I get emails from pet hospitals every once in a while when they need to talk about my cats.
Yeah.
But like I don't think there's not a single friend or family member or anybody I email on the regular.
Does your cat
55
hospital?
years old or not.
Does the cat hospital say, "Dear Mr. Buva, are you cleaning out your litter box correctly?" Because
They should send out a newsletter. Can you cover that on the Grandfather in the
I
Room by
will,
chance?
I
Like
will,
proper
yeah.
litter technique? That'd be great.
yeah,
I'll illustrate.
I call it the scoop and
All right.
filling.
So what's our advice to
He's not your girlfriend. Quit trying to treat him that way. Set a timer if you have to, but do not overextend your stay on the phone.
Yeah. Now, I just curious. Did anybody else see the potential that she was going to want to date this man?
I did. I thought
I
it was
did
going there.
too.
I
Yeah.
thought, oh no.
He asked me to marry him.
That's what I was waiting for as I was reading through it. I intentionally didn't read through all the pieces. I just grabbed like the first couple sentences and started laughing. I was like, oh, I'm reading that one.
Yeah, yeah,
I was really hoping this wasn't going to turn weird.
Yeah.
yeah.
Earl's parents abandoned him, so when he was 25, I took him in. We've been dating for 50 years now. It's like, oh,
That's right.
gross.
I'm
Wait.
surprised he abandons my phone call. So
Yeah,
that's what he does.
That's what it
He's
does.
really great with a light bulb.
It's from his stock.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, yes. I don't think there's any other. There's not like 50 pieces of advice here. Stop talking so long and winding the man out.
Is there anything we want to say to Earl?
I mean, here, I agree that this man has got a pair on him to not only hang up on someone without saying, and then just not even acknowledge
never
it. later
mention it.
on.
Like, Earl, this is the 46th time. You hung up on me. Why do you answer my calls if you don't want to talk?
Yeah.
Well, Ethel, you talk for 58 minutes every time. That's why. I have 30 minutes budgeted for my time with you. Yeah, Earl should start with that.
Is there belief that maybe he thinks he's getting away, like that he thinks she's
You
just
think he's
falling
pulling
asleep?
one over on her?
Yeah, like
He
doesn't
may
know he's
he
gone?
is falling asleep, and then his hand falls off the phone or hits the end, or I don't know.
He leaves her on speaker and falls asleep.
well, now here's the thing: she caused this problem because not only did she windy the man, but because she doesn't mention it, he thinks he's a genius. He thinks he's getting away with this thing and has been for years.
She doesn't even
Well,
know.
what if it's just his battery's dying?
That's a long time to talk. That's like
Same
5 hours in.
same advice then.
Right.
If
true.
you're going in and knocking out the battery, it's too much. Stop being so windy.
She called. He only had 37% left.
Yeah.
Yeah, he needs to set some expectations ago. Says, hey, we got 30 minutes to talk. That's it.
Yeah.
I want to talk about all the actors and the movies you like. Thank you so much for all the stuff you've done for me.
I love
will
Burt
be there
Reynolds.
Tuesday to make certain I get your light bulbs taken care of. But also, where's her son?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Like,
know.
best friends with Earl since 14. He's
talking to
55.
Earl's mom.
They have been friends for 41 years.
Ooh. I did.
41 years.
It's made me think of a different angle. And I think this is something to be cautious of as someone who interacts with older folk. Her worry about conflict is that he will then no longer come around to help her. And it puts someone, especially like someone who's in an advanced stage who cannot do things for themselves, like that they have to reduce some of their normal human interactions for fear that someone may not be willing to help them.
Dang.
And it's a really interesting thing to think about.
It's a scary thing.
Right. Like, is someone concerned that the basics of their life, like no one's going to show up and help me change a light bulb, that I cannot stand on a chair and go change this light bulb anymore. So I won't say something to my grandson or my son lest they not be willing to help me. And so I say that to consider, like, if you're in relationships like that, maybe take the time to like just remind your family or
reassure
people
them.
you're helping out to say, by the way, my help is not conditional. I still value your opinion and don't feel like you can't say things to me. I'll be here anyway.
Yeah.
Um,
No, that makes sense.
Maybe but just what she said. Like, I would hate to feel like that. Because then you've created a shallow relationship between that you don't want, but you have to because you're protecting a risk for yourself that have physical needs to it. And like you want deeper relationships then at this time of life, and you don't want to miss out on those for them fear that you're not going to come over and help. So
And here's another thing. Connect with some old people in your life. Like, it doesn't have to be your family members. Like, you don't have to, like, hang out with your estranged grandma or whatever. But, like, there are some cool people out in the world that would just love to be interacted with and spend some time with. And, like, if you've got the bandwidth for an hour on a Saturday every once in a while, spend some time with them. Go to a nursing home if you can figure it out and not be creepy about it, and just listen. And just, like, those people have insanely awesome stories and life that you've never even thought could be lived. And they feel so undervalued in many situations and unloved because they feel like a burden in all situations. And you can help take off that emotional burden by just being there. And so that's just a little random, like, 20 cents on the top of the dollar there that you just spend some time.
It's such a weird. I was thinking about this last week, actually, I was thinking about my job and about like notions of retirement and things like that. And I thought, like, what a change. This is not explain me, by the way, but I was pulling this thought process to like its greatest ends, which was like, just think of what it's like for someone who is in their prime, and like their words change the world.
Right.
And then it doesn't take but like a blink of an eye, and someone has to wipe their butt. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
it's just, and what changed?
Can't change the light bulbs.
Nothing about that guy's soul changed. Nothing, like, and oftentimes their mind is sharp. Their body is not cooperating
They just
with
don't
them
have the
anymore.
utility.
And based upon that external view of the world, the whole world treats them differently. Like, you would never know or get the same power as that guy 30 years earlier, like, commanded armies, made stock prices go up and down, made decisions on where are we going for the next 5 years of life. And like, it's just so fickle and frail outside of our relationships. And it's weird to think how much of an advertisement your physical body is on how the world interacts with you.
Right.
This and I get that's an age, kind of an age thing and a frailty thing, but like we know this just on random physical stuff, or like physical stuff that people have. Like, people decide how they're going to interact with you based upon what you look like all the time, even things you can control, like how are you standing today. And so anyway, it was such an odd thing that I'm sure, like, it's best to have thought about earlier in life, because you start to value the right types of things earlier in life and recognize that just this is the reason I was thinking about work. And I've said this before, like, I started work in the annuity business when I was 20. I didn't know anything about annuities. I knew they were in Charles Dickens novels. I knew, like, people would set up an annuity to make sure that kids were taken care of after parents died, and some lawyer was always the steward of this money who had to go deliver it to someone. So that's my understanding. And like, I know all kinds of stuff. There's been multiple times in my career where, like, when you wanted to know something, like, I was the guy you would come and ask. And it is not lost on me that as soon as I left that door, that means nothing. It is of no earthly, worldly value to anybody. If there's a status to it, it's 10 feet into the entrance. And frankly, it's only for 7.5 hours a day, and then no one gives a flying crap. It doesn't mean anything to them. And so, like, it's real, but it's fleeting, and it's fickle, and it's as notional as the promise of an insurance company that they're going to pay you something when you're dead. Like, it's just so fleeting. And so the question is like, when you look at, okay, how often am I working? Where am I putting all my effort into? Who did I focus on caring about what they think? Did I prioritize my wife and my children and my church family and like certainly my relationship with Jesus? Or like, was I more worried today that some guy who could give a crap about me 3 years from now does not think about me in any context unless I popped up and he needed something from me? Is that the guy that got my focus today? Sometimes that's the case. And so I need reminded of just how, again, it's not that it's not real, it's just that it's fickle. And it goes. If your whole life is a vapor, this is the breath before the vapor. Some of those things.
It's all hevel.
That's right. It only partially relates to this woman's problem, but
all right, we
get off my lawn.
After us blowharding for 15 minutes on that, ready for?
Did Nathaniel hang up and walk away?
I saw it in his eyes too. He was like, I'm
Okay.
gonna set this one
In
down.
my defense, he's been like that for the last 40 minutes. He was tired anyway.
True, I was.
Nathaniel, we
And then I
appreciate
thought to myself, as you were telling that story, I should look up some complicated annuity questions, and then on the rando, just pop them off, like text
hey,
them
Ben.
over to you. Hey, Ben, I was just wondering.
Oh, what a pal. What a
Yeah.
pal you are.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that I was tired of hearing him talk about annuities. So you're better friend than I am.
No, I started looking up, and I didn't even know. I don't know nothing other than what Ben has just explained about annuities, about Charles Dickens.
Yeah, through the whole
So
thing, I was thinking,
I
what a
liter-
nerd knows about Charles Dickens novels.
I literally Googled complicated annuity questions.
Nathaniel, we love you. We appreciate you being here when you're so tired and you can't get the word complicated out. It's good stuff.
Hey,
I love you, buddy.
this man is a pal. He's here for me. He says, my man needs to be encouraged and find value in the world, and I'm going to ask him annuity questions.
Yeah.
Thanks, bro.
And I'm
And
the
then-
other friend on the other side of it that goes, forget you and your Charles Dickens novels. You're ridiculous. Come back down to earth.
Buvas hevel. Nathaniel is sent from the Lord.
Probably true.
Okay. What's the, what did we get? What was the advice?
You want to give it a shot? Okay. All right. Tell Earl, or Secular says, tell Earl that when he hangs up on you, it is extremely hurtful. Explain that you know you are sometimes long-winded, and if he needs to end the conversation, there are kinder ways of doing it. Tell him that if he lets you know he needs to go, it will not hurt your feelings, and this is what you would prefer. Then cross your fingers that this second son gets the message.
Now, I don't know that that's true. If always in the conversation you're the person who has to go, hey man, I really got to run. Like they're gonna know that.
Right.
I don't know. I suppose it depends how comfortable you are with each other. Like Mary, you're doing it again. This is
Right.
You're gonna go off on a tangent.
Like,
I don't
Mary, I
have
love
time
you.
for your tangents.
We've talked about Gone in the Wind 14 times now. I love you so much. I got to go.
Yeah.
Okay. One more?
Yeah, let's do one more,
All right.
then we're done.
Dear Live from the Path, I am a first-generation Mexican-American who married into a Caucasian-blended family. My husband, my stepdaughter Lisa, and her mother and stepfather make up a beautiful unit. I have no children. Although my family initially ruffled at my interracial marriage, they got with the program. So much so that we invited Lisa to partake in a coming-of-age rite, the quinceañera. We were excited to update and modify it as much as possible so all sets of parents, grandparents, and other family could be involved. Suddenly, when Lisa was 14, a year before the quinceañera, when planning should be ramped up, not down, my extended family went into radio silence. Despite our attempts to encourage, coach, and generate excitement, we were led to believe Lisa had gotten cold feet and was reconsidering the event. We honored her wishes and planned to find other ways to make her feel special. 2 weeks before her 15th birthday, Lisa sent me an invitation for her quinceañera. Dear Live from the Path, words cannot express how heartbroken I feel. I was supposed to teach her about the cultural significance of what she was embarking on. I attended anyway, making sure to shower her with praise and put on a good face. However, in addition to being devastated, I was deeply offended. Of course, because no one bothered to check in, many features of the rite were handed improperly. I've been holding my tongue for Lisa's sake since I'm afraid this could cause a rift with her mother. What I don't want is for Lisa to think my feelings have anything to do with something she may have done. For the sake of peace, is continued silence better?
Boy, that is tough. What a jerk thing to do.
Right. She's the one who would have suggested it in the first place and then was completely kicked out of the planning and everything and made to believe that it wasn't happening.
Right. So just make sure I get it right in my mind. This is she marries the guy.
Yep.
Guy's divorced.
Yep.
Stepdaughter now.
Stepdaughter now. Yep.
Okay. Suggests do white, bunch of whiteys.
Yes, bunch of whiteys.
She's the Hispanic. Okay. And so she suggests, hey, maybe we could do this quinceañera. It's part of my culture. I can help do this. Seems interested.
As a stepmom, yeah.
Okay. And then it dies.
Yep.
And then she gets invited to a whitey version of the quinceañera 2 weeks before it happens, and they did it like a bunch of whiteys.
Yes.
And did not do it correctly because they don't really understand it. Yeah. And now she doesn't know whether she should say something.
Right.
I think
Shows up there using Taco Bell mild sauce.
Right, exactly. White people taco night.
New York
Getting
City.
taco shells from the grocery
get a rope.
store.
That's Kathy Ireland
And
age, Dan.
Pete
We got to give it up.
from the grocery store.
Dan and I are getting old.
Oh man.
So
Back in my day.
so
I believe that's called a quesadilla.
I would let it go.
Yeah.
And I would have if I'd be curious if I was the husband of both of these women, I might say, "Hey, what happened here?"
Yeah. Let's
Like-
do a little like recon of what went down.
Yeah, because like we have to continue to be in this kind of shared relationship, and like this just felt real weird, and it'd be nice not to run into some weirdness. So can
Right.
you help me understand what occurred?
Yeah.
I think the guy owes the daughter and the new wife that to try to investigate. Now you may not get anything, and it may be a crappy answer, and I think you don't push it. But I think that guy owes everybody to go say, "Hey, is there any possible way we don't end up in a situation like this again?"
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
All right. So at the end of Dear Life from the Past, sometimes people will identify themselves by like a made-up name, like Lost in Lincoln or something like that. I didn't read the name that this gal has called herself, and Secular answered by saying Dear Madre. And so I thought she was being kind of weird and racist by calling her Madre. But then I realized the gal identified herself as Madre de la Quinceañera. So it worked out. But Secular says, your feelings of hurt and frustration are understandable. But Lisa chose to celebrate her birthday the way she and her mom wanted. And that was her privilege. Rather than give the girl an authentic quinceañera and understanding of the meaning of that milestone, it appears her mother and stepfather opted instead for quinceañera light. Do not pick a fight over this. Move on, but do continue to share with Lisa everything you have to offer. Your wisdom, your experience, and your cultural heritage from now on. I feel like I don't know if for a 14 to 15-year-old that's going to be like, oh, yeah, quinceañera, because of my Latina stepmom, that's a cool thing. Year prior, kick out Latina stepmom, let's just do a quinceañera light. Like, what?
Yeah,
Or maybe I think we might be misunderstanding. I think original mom may be Hispanic.
Oh,
I think we're reading wrong.
interesting.
I think original mom was Hispanic because it did say blended family at the beginning. Well, blended is more.
I think that's
stepfather, something
yeah,
like
that's
that,
what
but
I thought. Yeah.
I think there's a chance that original mom was Hispanic.
Oh, so now this is some sort of
Now it's a
Latinx
fight of
turf war
cultures.
over who does quinceañeras correctly.
Yep, I think that's actually
Okay, I changed my advice, dude. You got to stay out of that. You don't want to be
Yeah.
in the middle of that stuff.
Yeah, I possibly I may be wrong, but it just gave me weird vibes. There you go.
I think you're definitely wrong, but if you're not, then I say
Fantastic.
you got to stay out of that. All right, you're listening to
Charles
Life
Dickens
from the
said
Past.
once in a book
Now,
about
I
annuities.
don't know what's surprising. I am way more likely to know the contents of a Charles Dickens novel than I am information about an annuity.
Yeah, agreed. But I get to call you a nerd when you talk about Charles Dickens novels still.
You've been listening to Life from the Path. Thanks for hanging out with us so far tonight. We really do appreciate it. Hey, if you got any feedback for the show, hey, just a blast from the past. And I know Buva doesn't do this, but you can use the email address, info@livefromthepath.org. All I get is advertisements there. So, I mean, if you got something fun to say, go ahead and shoot us an email. We'd love to hear from you. Or the Life from the Path complaint line, 515-517-0085. Call or text. We'd love to hear from you on the complaint line. We are coming, I think we're just like 2 or 3 shows away from the 500 show. So, again, if you got any feedback for us, you want to say, Live from the Path has changed my life in the following ways. That's how you would do it. 515-517-0085. Go ahead. Speak your mind.
I hated that. I hated that a whole lot. If you call, I'm going to have to listen to that too, Chance.
Dear Life from the Path.
Dear line from the past. This is the way that you've changed my
When
life in the last 5
when I hear the
months.
rumble of your voice, it gives me the tinglies. I want to date your frequency. I love everything
didn't think
I just
could
said.
hate it more.
I
and
love
then you just kept going.
Every bit of it. All right.
Jeez.
Thanks for hanging out. We'll be back with you next week. In the meantime, be faithful in the means. God will handle the ends. You've been listening to
Live from the past.
Live from the Path.